Hello, everybody, and welcome to Friday Apocryphal Podcast, your one-stop shop for everything Friday Apocryphal and podcast. And boy, do we have a show for you today. Today we are covering the Sibylline Oracles, book 11, the whole thing.
Yeah, the whole thing.
I had a good voice crack in there.
I did notice that.
Yeah, that was bad.
So
it was good. It was a good voice crack.
It was good.
True, as a voice crack, it was very good. So you might be wondering. You know, we just read book 9 before.
Yeah.
We read book 8, right?
Yeah.
So where are books 9 and 10? Well, I have an answer for you. Essentially, there were two manuscript traditions, and in the second collection, book 9 is basically just an amalgam of stuff from the first 8 books. So it's literally like you mentioned before the show, like the new psalm. I forget which one it was, but there was a psalm.
40-something.
Which one?
It was like 40-something. It was late 40s.
I think it was like 100 and something.
140-something.
Yeah, maybe it was that.
Yeah.
Closer to that. But I think so essentially because it was taken over from stuff that already existed, they didn't really feel the need to put it into this book. Or really any book, because it was just copies of stuff that was already around. And then book 10 is just book 4. So the entire thing, it's just exactly that. So there was no need to print that twice.
Yeah, so if you'd like to see book 10, please go watch our book 4 episode.
Exactly. And if you would like to see book 9, please rewatch.
The rest of the Sibylline Oracles.
Yeah, exactly. So that's essentially what it is, because there were two distinct collections. So yeah, the two distinct collections. The first consists of the two manuscript groups usually referred to as, just to make it easier, I'll use more Romanized language, I guess. So it's between Phi and Psi, except it would be Phi and Psi. That's what it would be, right? So those are the manuscript collections, and they contain books 1 through 8. In one of the groups, these are preceded by the anonymous prologue, while in the second collection, in the other collection, it begins with book 8, which has a strong interest in Christology, and also lacks a part of the ending of the book, right? It lacks that. So that is one manuscript collection. The second one consists of a group of manuscripts known as Omega. This begins with a 9th book made up of material already found in the first collection. And then book 10, which is identical with book 4. Yeah. So that's why there is no there's no 9 or 10 in our reading.
Yep. It's disappointing, but that's the way it is.
I guess 4 took over 10.
Right. Yeah.
7 did eat 9.
Yeah, exactly. So for book 11 here, the last 4 books of the Sibylline collection provide a more or less continuous outline of history from the flood down to the Arab conquest, with a very brief eschatological conclusion in Sibylline Oracle 14.
So, Lawrence,
yeah,
that's all very well and good, but what are you reading from?
Oh, you know what I'm reading from? The Old Testament Pseudepigrapha, Volume 1, Apocalyptic Literature and Testaments, edited by James H. Charlesworth. And
that has that whole Sibylline Oracles section by J.J. Collins, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It does have
that's
that.
incredible.
It is incredible. So, in this book, we're gonna basically get history from the flood to the death of Cleopatra.
That's an interesting choice,
right? I know. So there's no agreement as the date of Sibylline Oracles 11. Strongnell contends that the present book is not an independent piece, but is continued directly in Sibylline Oracle 12, which I think would make sense. Even those who accept the book as an independent unit disagree on its date. Gefkin dates it after 226 CE because verse 161 presupposes the fall of the Parthians. However, the tense of the verb in question is disputed. which would be, kind of annoying. This could be some ex eventu prophecy type of thing. Absolutely. Over against this position, Decent, Buset, and Kerfes have argued for a date in the 1st century CE. So it ranges, and it looks like those are the main two camps that people fall into.
Wonderful.
Yeah, for the dating. And the rest of it, we're just going to. I don't really
in
think,
the show.
Yeah, we're going to cover it in the show. Yeah, definitely. So we can start with Sibylline Oracles, Book 11, if you're ready to do that.
Give that to me. And if you're enjoying these first few minutes of the stream, like, comment, share, subscribe. Woohoo. Okay. Sibylline Oracles. Book 11. Introduction of the Sibyl. World of widespread men, long walls, great cities, and innumerable nations of east, west, south, and north, divided in many diverse languages and kingdoms. To you I am about to speak the most disastrous tidings. Now, we have a section on the Tower of Babylon.
That makes sense after, everyone speaking the same language.
Yeah.
We got to solve that. Actually, hold on. It said that there were a whole bunch of languages, right?
Divided in many diverse languages and kingdoms.
Yeah, okay. So while that would be true at the time, I guess this would be a good starting point if, one of the things you mentioned about them is languages.
Yeah. For from the time when the flood came upon the men of old and destroyed that generation with many waters, the universal ruler himself furnished another race of restless men, who in opposition to heaven built a tower to an awful height. The tongues of all were loosed, but on them came the wrath of the Most High God, hurled down, and the wondrous tower fell, for they roused evil strife against each other. Then also was the 10th generation of articulate men. From the time when these things happened, the entire earth was divided between diverse men in all sorts of dialects, of which I will tell the numbers and name them in acrostics, according to the first initial, and I will reveal the name.
This seems more like it started off as an oration than anything, especially if they're saying, like, I will now tell you this in acrostic form. And we've had a good amount of
actually there's no real acrostic in Sibylline Oracle 11.
So
though rulers of nations are indicated by their initials.
I see, okay. So it is weird that they would say that there's going to be an acrostic, but then there is no actual acrostic.
This is a really interesting section, actually. They focus on language early on, and then they bring up the Tower of Babel, which they say is the Tower of Babylon.
Yeah, because, yes.
And they name it as happening in the 10th generation of articulate men.
Sure, yeah. So I forget what their description of the 10th generation was, but in the really early Sibylline Oracles.
There's different generations lists.
Right, but then
this is
10th of articulate men.
Of articulate men, right? And I wonder what the implication is there, because it could be like implying that, like from Adam, right?
It could be from that.
Adam as the first articulate man, right? Or it could be after the flood, because they do say that it occurs after the flood. So,
yeah, or they could have had a different view of history altogether, where maybe their understanding might have been closer to ours about the history of writing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Interesting pieces. Also, it's kind of like slam poetry. He's like,
yeah, I guess kind of.
Hey, everybody, listen to me. I'm going to tell you about these cities in acrostics.
and then proceed to not do it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why I think it probably started as like an oratory thing, and then somebody just wrote down maybe the gist later.
Yeah.
Because like an original singer maybe could have been doing it in acrostics.
Well, an original writer could have been, better at going over acrostics and made a better acrostic, right?
True.
So
either that, or it's just been changed enough over time where it's no acrostic left.
Mm-hmm. All right, next section. The rule of Egypt. First, Egypt will receive royal dominion, outstanding and just. Then many counseling men will govern in her. But then a terrible man will rule, a very mighty skirmisher. His name will have the letter of the acrostic. Swords will he extend against pious men. While he wields power, this great sign will be in the land of Egypt. In great glory she will then feed with corn people who are perishing by famine. The same man, prisoner and judge, will nurture the East and the race of Assyrian men. Know his name. Missing text.
Oh, great. No, I guess don't know his name.
Of the measure of the 10th number.
Missing text ever, by the way. We could do the t-shirt on that. It's so good, in my opinion.
Yeah, that is pretty good. I do like it.
Wow.
Yeah. So a couple of things that happen with this here. So when they introduce it, they say here's the acrostic, and then they say swords first. Swords, the Greek word used here is phasgana, which has the same initial as Pharaoh, which is implying this is the section on the rule of Egypt, right?
Sure,
so
okay.
That is, a jab at the Pharaoh.
Yeah.
Now, the name that's presented in the missing text is Joseph.
Oh yeah, it would be Joseph. Yeah, that's what it sounded like. Yeah, it sounded like they were describing Joseph, but then also it talked about him and did it say the Persians?
Assyrians. And actually,
right,
Sibylline Oracle 11, verse 80, also uses the name Assyrians as a replacement for Israelites.
Oh, that's fucking weird.
Yeah, what is going on there?
That might have been, I feel like it could have been a textual error, honestly, because, I guess I wouldn't know what, so in Greek, it would the beginning would sound kind of similar. It would be like Israel, and it'd be like Asuri or something like that. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'd have to actually see the Greek to be able to tell. But it seems like they would start with different letters, I would assume. It's possible that they don't. That's why I would have to see the actual text. But they might sound similar, which also I feel like might be a change that could have been caused by an initial oratory reading.
Greek has a Y sound, right?
Well, it would be an I guess would be the closest, because it would make an E sound. That like it could be at the end of the word.
Because in Hebrew, Israel is Yisrael.
Right. Yeah. So, but in Greek, it's not. It would be like a kind of a soft like Israel.
Yeah. Well, this is very interesting. Why they use Assyrians for Israelites. I mean, that is one possible explanation, but I don't think the words are that close.
They're not close enough. Yeah,
and you would know, if you know the Joseph story well enough,
right? Yeah,
do slam acrostic poetry about it, then you would know that he's from Israel.
Right. So it is weird that they would say Assyrians. Maybe it was
an intentional jab at the Assyrians.
No, it wouldn't be a jab at the Assyrians. Maybe it's an intentional lifting up of Israel, because the Assyrians were very, warlike, powerful people, and of course during like the Assyrian invasion, right, they took over a whole bunch of land.
Mhm.
So it could be that, but it is weird that they change Israel for.
It
for
could
that.
be reflective of the political situation that they're in at the time.
Right.
Now,
Like maybe they can't say Israel for some reason.
well, there were a couple of possible dates. That
Yeah,
you
true.
noted.
So it could have been.
So after AD 226, because verse 161 presupposes the fall of the Parthians, that is one. And there's another argument for 1st century AD date. So
Right. So I remember in the thing is what they tried to steer away from in the 1st century would have been saying Rome as an opponent, like in Revelation, for example.
Mhm.
But yeah, I don't know why they would change Israel to Assyria. That
I've
is,
done it before, something similar.
I don't think.
I don't think
Not
so.
that, not
No.
that specifically.
Yeah.
Like, because usually they just change, like like Israel and
It could
Jacob.
be a weird veneration thing.
Yeah, a very weird veneration thing, like almost a Stockholm syndrome kind of thing.
Yeah. But they do the same with names of God, where like you don't say Yahweh, or you don't even in English you don't write God, right? You write G-D.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Judaism.
Jews do that. yeah.
Man, whoops.
That's how you can tell that someone's Jewish. You ask
Right.
them to write God.
Sure,
Yeah, I know they
that's
do.
how you could tell.
Yeah, because it's breaking their religious laws to write
that-
it
okay.
with
Yeah.
the O.
Yeah.
Practicing Jew.
Yep. Well, I mean, you would have to be pretty devout.
Yeah. Like you
Right.
see, like rabbis mostly do
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
Understood.
I've seen like, average people do it.
There were some pretty heavily indoctrinated kids in our class, and in Milwaukee, there's quite a big Jewish community.
Well,
Yeah,
some
there
of them took Judaism like really seriously.
yeah,
They did, yeah.
Yeah.
Like you remember David?
Yes.
David's
yes.
a rabbi now.
That tracks, yeah.
David was at the UW Milwaukee campus
thank
on
goodness, David's a
Sukkot,
generic name.
and he built like the booth
Oh my
and
God.
like had people come in and did the blessings with the vegetable stock things and on them. Yeah, man.
Keep reading, please.
I
And,
remember I got into an argument with him about evolution.
yeah. And Coley moved to Israel.
She did, yeah.
Yeah, she's
I'm
been
not-
there a
I'm-
while now.
She has. I'm not sure about how. I don't think she's gotten like super religious from what I've seen. But I know that she lives there now, at least.
I don't know why you would choose to live in a place.
Well, this
that's
place kind of
constantly
sucks.
being bombed.
Also, yeah, that is. Yeah, that's a good.
But
point. I don't
also
know.
that's a pretty dramatic change. You go from like frozen tundra to desert wasteland.
Yeah, maybe we shouldn't be doxing these people though.
Good
No.
times.
I know we're not actually doxing them, but like talking about personal lives and
I mean, vaguely.
That's an uncommon name, isn't it? One of them.
anyways.
Oh, she doesn't use it anymore.
Well, geez.
think.
Never mind then.
But when the affliction of 10 plagues comes upon Egypt from shining heaven, then I will again proclaim these things to you. Woe to you, Memphis! Woe, great kingdom! The Red Sea will destroy a great multitude of you. Then when the people of 12 tribes, bidden by the immortal, leave the fruitful plain of destruction. There's a note, Greek, olathru for olathron. The plain in question is Egypt.
Oh, okay. No, so the difference there, I can actually tell you. So one is plural, one is singular.
Well, hot dog.
Yeah, I could go for a hot dog.
There's that hot dog place
Not
down the
good.
street.
No, it's not that anymore. I guess they still have hot dogs,
Oh.
but it's not just hot dogs anymore.
Oh yeah, they did greatly expand the menu to like what? It's like a bunch of Greek food.
It's Well, no, it's definitely Mediterranean. It's more Arab food than anything.
Huh.
Yeah.
Right by us.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Let's stop talking about where we live.
I think a chain.
I think it's part of a chain now.
Yeah.
Gosh,
So-
this meta commentary is killing me, guys.
Oh, no. Hey, the Red Sea will destroy a great multitude of you, and people of 12 tribes, bidden by the immortal, leave the fruitful plain of destruction, and God himself, the prince, gives a law to men. Then a great spirited king will rule the Hebrews, one who has a name from sandy Egypt, a man falsely thought to have Thebes as his homeland. But a terrible snake will love Memphis and will devour many things in wars. That seemed out of place.
Also, snake.
Yeah, does it say anything about the snake? I'm guessing it's a metaphor, right? Because if it's devouring Memphis, it's got to be.
So a couple of things. First of all, sandy Egypt.
Yeah.
Kerfus sees a pun on sandy, Samathodeos, and a reference to Semiticus, mistaken here for Hebrew. However, the reference is surely to Moses, whose name was Egyptian and who had been treated like a son by Pharaoh's daughter.
Sure, yeah.
As for that other thing, it says the Greek says laphuxetai for phulaxetai. Gefkin sees here a reference to Moses, who is depicted by Artapanus, a Jewish Egyptian historian in the 2nd century BC, as an Egyptian general, and also as the founder of the animal cults. Alexandria takes the snake in this passage.
Is that supposed to be a reference to what's his name? Nehushtan, that snake idol that Moses set up?
Could be.
You guys remember that? I think it was in Numbers.
Yeah. I literally used an image of that. I absolutely
Did you? Okay.
Yeah.
The snake.
Snake.
Alexandra takes the snake in the passage to represent wisdom and so to be applicable to Moses. The phrase terrible snake is, however, most naturally understood in a pejorative sense.
Yeah, definitely.
It refers to Nero in Sibylline Oracle 529 and 1281, and to Severus in 12264. The phrase may refer to some unspecified pharaoh, or rather be a general derogatory reference to the Egyptian monarchy.
Yeah, in any case, it's not a good thing, I don't see.
Now we're in a section on the rule of Persia. In the 12th decade of revolving kingship, in the 17th century of years, when 5 more are left, then will be the empire of Persia. Okay. So, in view of the chaotic sequence of kingdoms, no real chronological value can be attached to these numbers.
Yeah. They're not they're really skipping past a lot of time here.
Then there will be darkness upon the Jews, and they will not escape famine and pestilence, which is hard to bear on that day. But when a Persian rules and leaves the scepters to the sons of his grandson as the years pursue their cyclic course, for only 5 times 4 and 100 in addition to these, you will complete 100 Enneads and make amends to all.
So 120 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what it sounds like. Yeah, 5 times 4 and 100. You dying there?
Here again, the numbers have no value.
Great, yeah, okay.
No historical value. Anyways.
Like, I really want there to be historical value.
Now we're going into the rule of media.
Sure, okay.
And it is actually completely false. the Persians, in fact, overthrew the Medes, not vice versa,
Yeah,
but it is
yeah.
treated as if the opposite is true.
Yeah, that's really weird.
Yeah.
Unless
Alternate history.
just like Assyrian and Israel were mixed up, maybe that first Persian was mixed up with something else.
Rome.
That'd be weird.
That would be.
Then, Persia, you will be given as a servant to the Medes, perishing with afflictions through mighty war. Immediately, disaster will come upon Persians and Assyrians, all Egypt, Libyans and Ethiopians, Carians and Pamphylians, and all other mortals. Then he will give the royal empire to descendants who again will lay waste races for many spoils, ravaging the entire earth without sympathy. Mournful, the Persians will wail dirges by the Tigris. Egypt will moisten much earth with tears. Then a very rich Indian will cause many evils for you, Median land, until you make amends for all which you had formerly done with shameless spirit. Woe to you, Median nation! Thereafter you will serve Ethiopian men beyond the land of Meroes.
Okay, well, I'm not sure where Meroes is.
You will complete 100 years from the beginning, wretched one, adding 7 to these, and you will place your neck under the yoke.
So this is feel like this one might be coming a little closer to actual Persia.
Well, we have a huge list of all of these nations here, and it's not really clear. Obviously it has to do with, destructions and woes and everything.
As is tradition.
But it is strange. There's a bunch of places here that we usually don't hear anything about.
Yeah, so I mentioned India there too, or Prince from India. Yeah. But the thing is,
Very rich
so they
evil Indian man.
people from the ancient Near East, at least conquerors from the ancient Near East, didn't really get to India. And I don't remember anyone from India specifically conquering that area. So I think the reason why I say it might be a Persian thing, right? Because the closest you would get there at the time that they're talking about, at least before Alexander, would be Cyrus, right? Because he comes in from Persia, which is at least closer to India.
Yeah.
And in terms of the ancient Near East and the Fertile Crescent, that would be like the closest I could come up with.
Well, hold on there,
But
Lawrence.
I'm not sure.
Grab yourself a Bible.
Okay.
Open up to Esther.
Yeah. Oh, right. They thought that it could have been Artaxerxes.
Esther 8:9.
Yeah. So I remember that now. So they thought that it could have been Artaxerxes, but I'm not sure if that's actually accurate. So Esther 8:9. Yeah. So yeah, here we go. The king's scribes were summoned at that time in the 3rd month, which is the month of Sivan, on the 23rd day. And an edict was written, according to all, that Mordecai commanded concerning the Jews, to the satraps and the governors and the officials of the provinces from India to Ethiopia, 127 provinces. To each province in its own script, and to each people in its own language, and also to the Jews in their script and in their language. So
this is extremely interesting. The 11th Sibyl seems to be copying Mordecai. I mean, literally many of the same places are named. They name both India and Ethiopia, which is rare. They also begin with like addressing diverse nations, and both of these have mentions of languages as part of their features.
sure, yeah, I guess. Because it then goes on to say, and he wrote in the name of King Ahasuerus, which would have been Artaxerxes, and sealed it with the king's signet ring. So I know that the commentator did think that it would have been Artaxerxes, which still part of the Persians, but I guess it would be even closer because they would have expanded a little further, I think.
Mm-hmm. Now, on the confusion of India and Ethiopia, see Sibylline Oracle 5-206, the confusion in Jewish sources may have been increased by the fact that India and Ethiopia are mentioned together in Esther 8:9 as the limits of the Persian Empire. The geographical indication beyond Meroes shows that the author had the African country in mind.
Sure, yeah.
Now, I'll hand it off to you when I get to here.
Okay, sounds good.
The rule of India / Ethiopia.
Yeah, there you go.
Yep. Then thereafter there will arise a dark-skinned, gray-haired, great-spirited Indian prince who will cause many evils to the east through mighty war. And he will damage you, or rather destroy you beyond all. Curfus takes the Indians of Sibylline Oracles 11 as the Persians, and the prince as Ahasuerus or Xerxes of the Book of Esther.
Yeah, there you go.
While it is true that the author may have been influenced by Esther 8:9, the passage is too confused to permit identification.
This entire book seems kind of confused on dates and locations.
Yeah, it definitely does. But when he reigns 20 years and 10 plus 7 and 10. That's 47.
Yeah, it's 47.
Yeah. 47 years. Then every nation of the royal empire will rage and display freedom, abandoning slave blood for 3 single years.
So I'm definitely getting, at least in some sense, that this was written poetically.
Curfus sees a reference here to revolts under Xerxes, but there's no historical data that corresponds to the statements here.
Unfortunate. Yeah, I'm definitely seeing the way that they, instead of just saying 47 years, like this is definitely meant to be like kind of rhythmic poetry. Yeah. I could definitely see that.
Yeah. And lines are spaced differently a lot too, so it probably was more of a performative thing.
Yeah.
Okay. So this guy shows up, this Indian prince. What do we have on the Indian prince?
Yeah, this is the one that some people think would have been Artaxerxes.
Yeah, it might have been Artaxerxes. They abandoned slave blood for 3 single years. But he will come again, and every nation of men will place its neck under the yoke for the mighty one again, as it was formerly subject to the king, and it will willingly be subordinate. There will be great peace throughout the whole world. Wow, that was intense, man. Right at the end there of those verses, they're like, basically like, I have brought peace and security to my new empire. Right?
Through submission.
Yeah. Jeez.
Stay peaceful or I'll kill you.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Now we have a section on the rule of the Assyrians.
Yeah, right. The Assyrians. Yeah, big quotes there.
They're actually in quotes.
Oh, they are
in the
quotes.
text.
That would make sense.
Yeah. Then a great man will be king over the Assyrians. Hold on.
What?
I want to hear more about this great man.
Yeah, there's a footnote.
Nope.
Solomon, who built the temple,
Solomon,
and the walls of Jerusalem, and whose initial S has a numeric value of 200, which corresponds with verse 91, and is the 18th letter of the alphabet, which corresponds with verse 92. Curfus, following Deschent, takes the Assyrians as Persians and the king as the Artaxerxes of Ezra 7:11, who did much for the temple, and in whose reign Ezra and Nehemiah reorganized Jerusalem. Curfus is obliged to regard verses 91f as an insert modeled on Sibylline Oracles 12:258. However, the parallel in Sibylline Oracle 12 is only partial. Even with the emendation, Curfus is still obliged to say that Artaxerxes built the temple, which is simply untenable. The history of Sibylline Oracle 11 is muddled on any interpretation. If we accept the present text, we must take the passage's reference to Solomon. The term Assyrians is used for the Israelites earlier as well.
Yeah, this is so weird that it would be a reference to Solomon, right? Because
the most jank reading yet.
Because Solomon would have been around hundreds of years before before any of those other guys.
I like how the footnote basically says, yeah, Sibylline Oracle 11 is like held together with sticky tape and Elmer's glue.
Yeah.
A lot of whiteout.
There's got to be something missing in this history.
That one name was.
Well, yeah, the one name, yeah.
Yeah.
Guy we can't forget.
Right, can't forget this guy.
No.
Yeah.
Name omitted.
Name omitted.
So this man's gonna be king. He will rule and persuade everyone to speak according to his mind what God disposed in laws. Then all the kings will fear this man. They who plume themselves with spears, fearful and speechless, exceedingly mighty and lovely to behold.
Behold!
It's been forever.
It has been a while.
Yep.
Forever.
I have to try to stop myself from just shouting behold on Oren's show.
Wow.
Yeah. Because every time it comes up, I want to shout it. I should do it.
Forget what
Why wouldn't I? Actually, I should.
Yeah,
in fact, you should be like, behold, watch fucking Atheist Sunday School.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Or Friday Apocryphal Podcast if you're here.
That too, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Anyways, we got to behold.
This is a much more lighthearted show, I feel.
No, this is way more lighthearted.
Yeah.
More lighthearted than Atheist Sunday School, too.
Definitely, yeah.
I think I technically do quite a bit more work for Atheist Sunday School. Like there's Jesus, there's the wheel.
Right.
We usually have a guest.
We breed a
almost never have
lot
a guest
more
on this
commentary.
Right. I don't think we've had a guest on this show.
We did once.
Did we?
I think Jim. Maybe
No, we had
a replacement for Ruben at some point.
We had Chris for the Testament of Job, didn't we? For
No.
No, that was for actual
We
Job.
had Skelton. We had Skelton for Ben Sira.
Yes, that was good.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. We should have him back sometime.
Yeah.
I'm sure
I'll message him.
he'd have fun.
Yeah.
Doing something that's not the Sibylline Oracles. Maybe some Gnostic thing.
That would be fun, yeah.
Let's hop into the non-commodity stuff.
Actually. I was thinking that'd be a good idea.
Yeah. That's what we're doing next, everyone.
Non-commodity
stuff. Okay. So we just had to behold. Fearful and speechless, exceedingly mighty and lovely to behold, will serve this man through the plans of the great God. For he will persuade everything by speech and subdue everything. And he will mightily build the temple of the great God and the lovely altar. And he will cast down idols. He will gather tribes and the generation of fathers and infant children into one place as settlers and build a wall around them. He will have a name of the number 200 and will show the signs of an initial of 18.
Okay, so
that's what they were talking about before.
Yeah, so I guess it really does have to be Solomon. But yeah, timeline-wise, no, that's not what's happening at all. This is such a confusing text.
Right. But whenever he prevails, as decades pursue their cyclic course for 2 + 5, coming to the end of his time, there will be as many kings as tribes of men, as clans, as cities, and as islands, lands of the blessed and fields of shining fruit. But there will be
like a heap of kings, towns to the heavens of kings.
But there will be one great king over them.
Okay.
A leader of men. Many great spirited kings will yield to him. They will give to him and his sons and his prosperous grandsons portions of the kingdom for empire until 8 decades of decades and 6 single years. In addition to these, he will rule even those who are his opponents to the end.
Wow. Okay.
Pretty intense here. So there's a reference here. As usual in Sibylline Oracles 11, the numbers here make no historical sense.
This is they must. I feel like they must have had some kind of like a different understanding of history, not just than the one we do, but even than the one that Israel did. Because the history itself is just so muddled. The person who authored this, I really feel like they were probably trying to portray something realistic, but because their view of history disagrees so much from not just the stuff we know today, but even the stuff that they knew in ancient Israel, that they are somehow trying to keep in line with traditions, or they're probably mixing it actually with the histories of like Rome, I would guess.
Bro, you just wait. Okay, these upcoming let me just
I know we're going to get Romulus and Remus later.
Let me just name off some of these upcoming sections.
Oh, please.
The Advent of Macedonia, Romulus and Remus, the Trojan War.
Oh my God.
Virgil.
Pretty classic stuff here.
Right,
Yeah.
but the Trojan War happened way before, or at least it would
We
have
also
been.
have a section on Virgil.
Right, yeah, Virgil.
Specifically Virgil.
Right, which is weird because he was just like some fucking author, right? Okay. And yeah, the Trojan War, if anyone's interested, a historical one may have happened at Hisarlik. That's the name of the historical Troy.
Look,
At least as far
we
as
all
we can.
know about the Trojan War. All right, it's recorded in the history that was written by Homer, the historian.
Yeah, over the historian, yeah.
Brilliant.
A guy who definitely existed.
Yeah, totally. As one person at a time, yeah.
As does Homer Simpson.
Yeah, right, Homer Simpson.
He loved ambrosia.
Don't we all? So it's a good flavor. It's a good hookah flavor, by the way, ambrosia. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
dying from that.
it's kind of like
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
Anyways, yeah, I'm gonna start with this: the Advent of Macedonia. But when a strong wild beast comes with mighty Ares,
God of War.
Yeah, God of War.
And God of War 2.
3.
And 4 and 5.
Yeah, so
and
people
6.
see here obviously a reference to Alexander. It does not, however, follow that the previous verses also referred to the Persians. Yeah, and of course, as we've discussed before, the sequence of kingdoms is not chronological, but it is determined by Sibylline Oracles Book 3, at least in this.
You know, I've come to a conclusion. The author of this Sibyl
It's nuts.
had no regard whatsoever for historicity.
Yeah.
Like, it just isn't a thing to them.
It bleeds a fake, like, lore of a real thing.
Yeah,
Like somebody who is not informed of what happened or what would happen. Because, like, what did they say at the very beginning about the Persians getting their asses handed them by the
Medians.
The Medians? No way.
The Medes.
Yeah.
Yeah, other way around.
Right. The historicity is all wrong. And probably what's going on is that it's for a performative purpose. Like, that would make this way different than any of the other Sibyls because they didn't seem performative.
You know what I think they're doing?
What?
I think they're taking from many histories So they're taking from the Bible. They're taking from Roman history. They're taking from maybe like
Virgil.
Virgil, right? They're taking Roman, Greek, maybe some annals from Persia. And then instead of putting it all together chronologically, they instead tell each story by its own. Because we start off...
My God. This is some ancient hipsters, like, doctoral thesis.
You know what? Maybe.
Kinda.
But I think that's what's going on, actually. But
Yeah.
anyways, I'm going to continue.
Could be. Go on.
Then for you also, royal land, will wrath spring up. Woe to you, Persian land! How many effusions you will receive of human blood when that man of mighty spirit comes to you. Then again, I will proclaim these things to you. Now we're on to Romulus and Remus.
All right.
After I cough. But when Italy produces a great marvel for men, a murmuring of infants by an unpolluted spring in a shady cave, children of a flock-devouring beast, who, when they have become men, will cast down headlong many who have shameless spirit on 7 strong hills.
Are they talking about Zeus?
No.
No. Here.
Because the thing is, they were, Romulus and Remus. We have the picture in the background with them and the wild beast, right? Because they were like nursed by it or something. And then the 7 hills was a way to signify Rome.
What I mean is because of this line, 151, in a shady cave, children of a flock devouring beast, which is a description that you could make of Zeus. His father does literally devour his flock, and Zeus dwells in a cave as a child. And later on,
Sure, I guess.
in another section later on, there is a direct reference to Zeus.
Sure, yeah. I mean, I'm not surprised about direct references to Zeus, but this one sounds like they're talking about Romulus and Remus.
Yeah, they're talking about Romulus and Remus.
Yeah. Anyways, both number 100. Yeah, Romulus, Remus, yeah. Their name will show them a great sign of things to come. They will build strong walls on 7 hills and will set up grievous war about them. Then there will be an insurrection of men springing up and about, great land of beautiful corn, great spirited Egypt. But I will again proclaim these things, and in addition you will receive a great affliction in your homes, and again you will have an insurrection of your own men. Classic...
No good.
classic wars and overturning. And
Yeah, you don't want that stuff to happen to you.
no. Now, we're just going to,
Jump into something else.
jump into the Trojan War.
Nice.
All right.
This guy's got a cool portal gun.
Tell me about
Right.
Achilles.
I will, maybe. I don't know what it'll tell you about. Maybe they changed his name to something else. Maybe the hero of the story is like...
The horse! The wooden horse!
Oh, is it Agamemnon?
Yeah, right. Maybe the hero's Agamemnon.
Oh,
or,
wonderful.
Demosthenes, maybe.
Yeah.
Which was cool. Demosthenes was kind of a badass, but...
What was that one?
He was the guy that...
really too hot, and they killed an entire city over her, basically. Remember, they were like... It started the...
You're talking about Helen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's the good guy in this.
I thought you were talking about the beginning of the Iliad, where
Agamemnon and Achilles are arguing about.
and he's-
Was it Chryseis or Chryses?
I think so.
I forget which one's the dad and which one's the daughter.
Basically, it's like, no, I'm not gonna give up this woman that I took home as a spoil of war. That's ridiculous.
Right? Yeah.
Look, if I do that, then it sets a horrible precedent, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. Interesting way to start
Yeah.
the
Right.
book, by the way.
Now you, wretched Phrygia, do I bewail piteously, for on you will come captivity from Greece, which subdues horses, and terrible war through mighty battles. Ilium, I pity you, for a fury from Sparta will come to your dwelling, mingled with a destructive star. It will especially cause you toils, labors, groanings, and wailings when skilled men begin to battle. The heroes of the Greeks, by far the best of those who love war. One of those, a mighty warrior, will be king. That, of course, being Agamemnon. For the sake of his brother, his brother being Menelaus. For the sake of his brother, he will perform most evil deeds. They will destroy the famous walls of Troy of the Phrygians when the son of Kronos, so Zeus, for twice 5 revolving years, so 10 years.
Twice 5 revolving years.
You'll learn what that means.
Well, the thing is, so the Trojan War lasted, I think, 9 years, right? Or 10. It lasted 10 years. The Iliad starts in year 9.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it lasted 10 years, right? Or did it last more than that? I forget. I think it was 10 years. So that would make sense. Anyways, yeah, for twice 5 revolving years, fulfills the murderous deeds of war. Suddenly, a wooden deceit.
Ooh. As opposed to a steel
or an ivory deceit.
Or
yeah,
an iron deceit.
That too.
Iron's OP, remember?
Mm-hmm.
That's true. Yeah, yeah. Suddenly, a wooden deceit will cover men around, and the one of deep grief will receive it on her knees.
Oh,
Nice.
jeez.
Good stuff. Not perceiving that it is an ambush.
Oh, jeez.
It gets better. This is so good, actually. The one of deep grief will receive it on her knees, not perceiving that it is an ambush, pregnant with Greeks.
Wow. Incredible. So, Sibylline Oracle 11 is an erotica slam poet.
Yeah,
now.
an erotica slam poet. At last, how many Hades will receive in one night? How much spoils will it carry off from the old man of many tears? But there will be ageless glory in future generations. A great man from Zeus, a king, will have the name of the first letter.
Alpha.
So, well, yeah, I know it's Alpha.
Agamemnon.
Yeah, I guess it would be right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, would be Agamemnon. Yeah, murdered by his wife Clytemnestra. Yeah. He, when he has returned home, will then fall at the hand of a deceitful woman.
Ooh.
A famous child of heroes from the race and blood of Assaracus will rule. That's interesting. This would be Aeneas. Assaracus, his great grandfather, was king of Phrygia. Okay, right. Because so the Aeneid, was essentially written because, and that's about
And that's
Rome.
why we have the section on Virgil.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Yep.
Aeneas was a minor character in the Iliad, but because there was, they viewed, or at least the Romans, they viewed Aeneas as being like the father of, or like a very early figure in Roman history, right? So, they took this minor character and then had this huge mythos fleshed out, of course, in the Aeneid. So that's why Virgil was so important. Okay. A mighty and brave man. He will come from Troy when it has been destroyed by a great fire, fleeing from his fatherland on account of the turmoil of Ares, carrying on his shoulders his elderly father, holding his only son by the hand. He will perform a pious deed, glancing around. He who split the onslaught of the fire of blazing Troy and pressing on through the throng. So yeah, it definitely looks here. This entire thing, they're taken way more from the Aeneid than they are other texts.
Right.
Yeah. In fear he will cross the land and frightful sea. He will have a name of 3 syllables. For the first letter is not insignificant, but reveals the supreme man. Upon the coincidence of the initials of Aeneas and Adam.
Wow.
Long walk for a short drink of water. Okay. Then he will set up the mighty city of the land. Sorry, of the Latins.
Oh,
yeah.
I thought you were gonna say Atlantis.
Yeah.
Atlantis.
That would have been awesome.
Yeah, of the Latins.
This guy really doesn't know his history.
Right? Yeah, that would
The
be
city of Atlantis.
That would be amazing.
And the Lemurians will be there.
That would be amazing.
And there will be a black sun. And
they're going to read from the Akashic Records.
Yep.
Yeah,
and
so
the
Aeneas,
Ascended Masters.
There they are. There we go. We listed all the crazy stuff, right?
Yeah, so Aeneas was usually...
Blavatsky minute.
Oh my God, let's not. Aeneas was usually considered founder not of Rome itself, but of Lavinium, head of the Latin League. Yeah. In the 15th year, on the depths of brine. Sorry. In the 15th year, on the depths of brine, perishing on the waters, he will meet the end of death. But even when he dies, the nations of men will not forget him. For the race of this man will later rule over all as far as the river Euphrates and Tigris in the midst of the land of the Assyrians, where the Parthian tarried.
Far out, man.
Yeah, this is the one that's disputed. Yeah. It will come to pass in future generations when all these things happen. Yeah, my ass. Now we're on the section on Virgil.
Hold on. It hasn't come to pass yet. You have to wait.
Yeah.
You know what? Maybe you're right. Maybe
let's just stop what we're doing and sit here and wait.
Maybe all the stuff that we read about before, maybe it's so not in line with history because it just hasn't happened yet.
Well, the
obviously.
Medes will come back, and so will the Persians, so that the Medes can win.
There's going to be a neo-Babylonian era. There's going to be a neo-Macedonian, neo-Assyrian, right? A lot of neos.
It'll be like post-apocalyptic. And,
oh yeah,
Fallout.
But then all this stuff is going to happen.
Look, don't tell me that you wouldn't want to live in Neo-Babylon.
The thing is, Neo-Babylonia was already a thing that existed. But Neo-Babylonia, that I probably would want to live in.
Well, that's Neo-Babylonia. This would be Neo-Babylon.
Oh, Neo-Babylon. Okay.
Great.
Okay.
Just to get the histories straight.
Right. There will be... This is Virgil now. There will be again a certain elderly wise man, a bard, whom all call the wisest among men, by whose noble mind the whole world will be educated. For he will write the chief points with power and intelligence, and at various times he will clearly write very wondrous things, having mastered my words and meters and phrases. For he will be the very first to unfold my books. Afterward, he will also conceal them and will no longer show them to men until the goal of wretched death, the end of life.
So the Sibyl
I feel
is
like
basically,
Virgil wrote this.
No, I bet this person's like trying to name drop Virgil basically in order to get more clout. But it doesn't work.
Yeah, no, Virgil is
working.
What?
None of their writing techniques are jiving with me.
Look, man, you know that Jay-Z guy?
What?
He stole everything from me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I wrote down all of my hip hop in notebooks, and he opened it up, and stole all my rhymes. And
wow.
Then he closed the book and hid it away.
Wow. What a dick.
Yeah.
I can't believe he's done this.
This is the level of claim that we're getting from the Sibyl.
Essentially, yeah.
Also, Hitler's back.
What?
No, I mean, that's the level of claims this guy has. It's stupid stuff like, and then Hitler was there.
Oh, right, because with Nero, yeah. Okay. I was like, did they say that somewhere?
No, it's a bad example.
So prophecies of confusion and tumult.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. But whenever these things are accomplished of which I spoke, the Greeks will again fight each other, Assyrians and Arabs, and further quiver-bearing Medes, Persians and Sicilians and Lydians will rise up, Thracians and Bithynians, and those who inhabit the land of beautiful corn by the streams of the Nile. Imperishable God will cause tumult among them all at once, but an Assyrian man, a bastard Ethiopian, will very terribly come suddenly with the spirit of a wild beast, and he will cut through the entire isthmus. The reference is most probably to Xerxes' invasion of Greece in 480 and to his canal through the Athos Peninsula.
Okay, that makes sense. I was about to say a bastard Ethiopian.
Right, yeah. Glancing about, going against everyone, and will sail across the sea. Then very many things will happen to you, faithless Greece. Woe to you, wretched Greece, how many lamentations you must make. For 87 revolving years, you will be the mournful refuse of frightful war of all the tribes. So would this be 87 then?
I don't think that the numbers mean anything.
Right, but only... Okay, I know that they don't actually mean anything, but if we're trying to, translate this, the number here it would be 87.
Yes.
I know that 80 revolving years is weird.
Yeah,
Like,
revolving is stupid.
So it could be like, because you go around the sun, right? But
Dumber, actually.
but they could have just meant like rounds, like going around the calendar kind of thing.
It's also dumb. But
well,
I understand
Yeah, but either
how
way,
dumb this author is.
it is kind of weird to us that they're using that phrasing,
dumb.
but I think
Probably for like an internal rhyme. Or
that's what I'm guessing, for a rhyme or some rhythmic thing.
Fair enough.
yeah.
Now the rise of Macedonia. Then again, the affliction of the Macedonians will come upon Greece, and it will destroy all Thrace and the turmoil of Ares, in islands and mainlands and among the Tribali.
Tripoli.
Yeah, I guess Tripoli. But that kind of sounds like the place Tripoli,
Yeah.
which is different.
Whatever.
Okay. So Tribalois. Okay. So yeah, I guess not really any help there. It's just the Greek. But either way, they love war. That's what it says here. An island and mainlands and among the Tribali who love war. Textual break. He will be among the foremost fighters and will have this name, an initial which shows the number 50 10 times. Philip of Macedon. He did not extend his empire beyond Greece, but laid the foundations for Alexander's conquests. He was assassinated in 336 BCE at the age of 46. All right, then. He will have swift fate and empire, but he will leave behind a very great kingdom throughout the boundless earth. He himself will fall at the hand of a bad counselor, a spear bearer, having lived as a leader with fair wind as no one else. Now, on to Alexander.
All right.
And then, after this section, I'll hand it off to you.
Okay.
Thereafter, the great spirited son of this man will rule, of the first letter, that being Alpha.
Yeah. Alexander.
Yep. There will be a detailed account of his race. Although this man was not born of Zeus or Ammon, all will nevertheless declare him to be and will depict him as a bastard of the son of Kronos. He will lay waste the cities of many articulate men, but the greatest wound will spring up for Europe. This man will also afflict the city of Babylon with pestilence, and every land on which the sun looks in the east. He alone will sail the world. Woe to you, Babylon! You will be in servitude at triumphal processions, you who were called mistress. Ares will come to Asia. He will truly come and will kill many of your children. Then you will send out your royal man, whose name is the founder of, whose name is of the number 4. Darius, starting with a D. Yeah. The Persian king Darius III, the Persian king defeated by Alexander. Fighter with the spear and terrible arrow shooter with mighty warriors. Then indeed famine and war will seize the midst of Cilicians and Assyrians. But great spirited kings will drape themselves in terrible conflict of spirit-destroying strife. But you, flee the former king and abandon him. Do not wish to remain, and do not be ashamed to be cowardly. For a terrible lion will come upon you, a carnivorous beast, wild, stranger to justice, wearing a cloak about his shoulders.
Some kind of kingly figure.
Definitely. Is it supposed to be like a Lion of Judah type of thing?
It would traditionally be, right?
Right. So, because kings were often depicted as lions or fighting lions, but then I think the cloak, would make sense.
Mm-hmm. Or it's literally a cloaked anthropomorphic lion.
That would be
Nice.
something right out of...
Yeah, you remember in Digimon how there was that lion guy?
I wasn't thinking about Digimon. I was thinking about Chronicles of Narnia.
Me too.
I was thinking Digimon.
Okay, fair enough.
works.
Digimon lion was a lot more built than Narnia lion.
Definitely. That is true.
Yeah.
Flee the man who is like a thunderbolt. An evil yoke will come to Asia, and the whole earth will drink inundating murder. Holy shit. But when Pelion Ares will establish the great city of Egypt, giver of wealth, and name it for himself. I.e. when Alexander founds Alexandria.
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah, okay.
Pretty straightforward.
Of course. Yeah. Betrayed deceitfully by his companions, he will undergo fate and death. For when he leaves the Indians and goes to Babylon, foreign murder will destroy him about the tables.
And that is one idea of what happened to Alexander?
Yeah, I guess I don't really remember the other. One him getting sick or something?
One is sickness.
Yeah.
One is poisoning. One is outright murder. Like, there's a whole bunch of different ideas about how Alexander died.
Sure, but you know what happened when he died? We got the Diadochi.
Yeah.
They were, because he was the one holding the whole thing together, right? The entire empire together.
Yeah.
But then when he died, this empire basically split into 4 pieces, and they couldn't keep their fucking shit straight or defend their own pieces. So they all just kind of slowly faded and wasted away. And we're going to talk about that a little bit here. But hey, if you're enjoying the stream so far, make sure to like and subscribe and share the stream around with your friends, family, your conquering rulers of nations.
Your lions.
Yeah, your lions, your gods, your I don't know.
Bastard Ethiopians.
Wow. yeah, if you know any of those.
Evil rich Indians.
That too.
Evil rich Indians.
So like the guys who had the scamp centers
Oh yeah.
in India?
Geez.
Because they are evil and they are rich.
Are they rich, though?
The people at the very top?
Oh, yeah, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah. The guys, not like, the...
Or like the Indian guy in that show that we were watching, where they like take out the brains and everything.
Oh my
What?
gosh, that guy.
Yeah.
What show is this?
We should watch that.
Pantheon.
Pantheon.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's about digital gods, but
Yeah, they like straight up.
new episode of that.
Yeah, no, it's intense, man. Good show.
Yeah.
You ever see Alexander, the movie?
No.
You should see it.
Jeez.
It's like 4 hours long.
Why would I want to see that?
Alexander,
Yeah.
the Great.
I guess. Okay.
So it's a good movie?
It's vaguely accurate, somewhat. Not really.
Yeah.
Kinda.
Nice.
Not really. Kind of. All right.
Yeah.
Traumatized.
You'd have fun with it.
Okay.
The Diadochi. Thereafter, others will rule each individual tribe, kings who are devourers of the people and overbearing and faithless for a few years, then a great-spirited leader who will glean all Europe bare from the time when the whole earth drinks the blood of all the tribes. But he will leave life having undone it by his own fate. There will be other kings, twice 4 men from his race, all of whom have the same name.
Billy.
Yeah, Billy. I don't actually remember their names.
Steve. Yeah, Steve's a good
I don't think anyone really actually cared. Like they talked
No
about the
one cared,
Diadochi and how they kind of failed, but no one actually like. I mean, I don't remember their names. Nobody really talked too much about them other than the fact that they failed.
So it says here, Antiochus the Great invaded Europe in 196 BC, but his campaign ended in failure. There were 8 Seleucid kings named Antiochus, counting from Antiochus the First. Alexandria suggested
That's
that the
different.
reference is to Antigonus, but there were never 8 kings by the name in the same dynasty.
Yeah, that's weird. But once again, I guess we shouldn't take the numbers here seriously, right?
I guess not.
Revolving numbers.
Yep. Now we're in the second rule of
Gotta
Egypt.
Ask what revolving numbers are to land in.
I'm pretty sure
Okay.
it's just the calendrical thing.
We're getting into the second rule of Egypt. First rule of Egypt, don't talk about Egypt. Second rule of Egypt, don't talk about Egypt.
Talk about Egypt.
Then Egypt,
damn it.
then Egypt will be a ruling bride, and the great city of the Macedonian prince, revered Alexandria, famous nurse of cities, glittering with beauty, will alone be metropolis. Then let Memphis blame its rulers. There will be deep peace throughout the whole world, and the earth of dark soil will then give more abundant fruits, and then evil will come upon the Jews, and they will not escape famine and pestilence on the day which is hard to bear, but the ambrosial earth, dark soiled with its beautiful corn, newly adorned, will receive many dying men.
It's interesting how in this text, because I've read a decent chunk about Egypt from the perspective of Egyptians. And never until today have I seen it described as like a land of like corn.
Right. You know,
which is interesting because they've done it multiple times now in this text.
This section is ridiculous. You know, it's all over the place here. It's like, oh, Egypt's ruling bride, revered Alexandria, glittering with beauty. Then let Memphis blame its rulers. Oh, deep peace upon the world, earth, abundant fruits. Evil comes upon the Jews. They will not escape. Right? And
that's nuts.
then it goes back to like, oh, ambrosial earth.
Oh, I guess it would just
dark
be
soiled, beautiful corn will receive many dying men.
right. Yeah,
Right?
that is accurate.
It's like up and down and up and down and up and down. Like that's intense.
So I'm guessing corn here would be more generally grains.
Yeah.
But still it wasn't always described as like a land of grain.
No.
There was
Maybe it's a reference to
the
Joseph.
That's what I'm thinking. It's a reference to the Joseph story.
Yeah. Because they have the storehouses of grain.
Yeah. And what's his name? Who was the presidential candidate that thought that the pyramids were the storehouses? Ben Carson. It was Ben Carson. He had suggested that the pyramids were Joseph's storehouses for grain.
Oh. Dummy.
Isn't he a neurosurgeon?
Yes.
Dummy
Oh
neurosurgeon.
no.
I could swear that's what he thought about them. I remember this vaguely. I remember making fun of it a
They're so
lot.
good.
because that's nuts, especially since they were tombs.
That's painful.
Yeah, it is painful.
Yeah. He could have been president.
Imagine being someone from ancient Egypt who spent your whole life basically building this pyramid, and then some guy in the future thinks that someone was just putting like wheat in there.
Right.
Kind of weird that it's a giant grave, but whatever.
It's a hell of a grave.
Right.
They were huge projects, dude. Like they had like little towns for all of the builders set up.
They would have to.
Yeah, exactly. Because you're staying there for a long time. Yeah, Ben Carson. Yeah, exactly. Fucking ridiculous. So why
don't we move on?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
We have a section on Cleopatra now. But 8 kings of marshy Egypt will complete numbers of years 3 and 30 plus 200. But, yeah, I know. But their race will be destroyed, not of them all, but a root will grow out, a female, destructive of mortals, betrayer of her own kingdom. But thereafter they will perform evil deeds among themselves in wickedness, and one will destroy another. A royal son will cut down a warrior father, and he himself will fail at the hands of his son. But before that, he will sprout another plant. A root will shoot up thereafter spontaneously. From it, there will be a race that grows on the side.
Probably like metaphorically, like the side of the shoot, right? Like, because
Yeah, they don't fit the historical situation about Cleopatra either. Any of these details,
of course not.
So, yeah, comes out of its side, and for there will be a queen of the land by the streams of the Nile, which advances to the sea with 7-fold mouths. She will have a much loved name of the number 20, K, for Cleopatra.
Yeah, makes sense.
Her popularity in Egypt is widely attested. So that they decided to put that in a footnote.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. She will make innumerable requests and collect all wealth of gold and silver. There will indeed be treachery against her from her own men.
Okay, so who was, if anyone can remind me, so who was she banging from Greece? Was it Marcus? Or no, it was Mark Antony, right?
Yeah, Mark Antony.
Yeah, and I think they have a kid that was killed when he was a baby because, or maybe there was like a plot to kill when he was a baby. Because what?
Different story. Let's get back to what we're doing.
Well, I because like the thing is, their child would have.
It's literally the same story.
Oh, it is.
Their child would literally have rights over Greece and rights over Egypt. That would be the most powerful child in existence.
Oh, yeah,
so
sure.
If I'm remembering this properly, someone killed that kid because of that reason. Way too much power.
Mm-hmm.
Unless that's like a totally apocryphal story or if that was just like a hypothesis, I don't remember. But I remember something about that story.
Mm-hmm. Well, we know of no conspiracy against Cleopatra, but some of Antony's followers defected after Actium. So there you go. Then again, blessed land, you will have wars and battles and slaughters of men. Now we have a section on Julius Caesar.
Oh, great.
But when many rule luxuriant Rome, in no respect chosen from the blessed, but tyrants, leaders of thousands and myriads, supervisors of lawful assemblies, and most great Caesars will rule in succession all the days. Last of these, of the number 10, Caesar will rule last, who will be struck in dread war by hostile men and stretch out his limbs on the ground. The children of Rome will carry him in their own hands and bury him piously and pour a mound on him, sharing favor to his memory because of his friendship. But when the end of the time of the age is at hand, fulfilling twice 300 and twice 10 from the time when your founder, the son of the beast, was leader, no longer will a dictator be a limited ruler, but a prince will be king, a godlike man.
That is kind of their
The son of the beast here is Romulus.
Oh, okay. So, I mean, yeah, that would fit in with their view of the emperor, right? Being godlike.
Mm-hmm. And also the chronology is weird.
Is it? Okay.
Oh.
Here and in Sibylline Oracle 12:12, the age of Rome at the time of Caesar's death is given as 620 years. The usual date for the founding of Rome was 753 BC, which would give the age of Rome as 709 at the time of Caesar's death.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, this is. They must have been. Something's up with this author altogether.
Right? Mm-hmm.
Maybe they're getting their information from like the worst possible versions of these sources.
Yeah, it's weird.
Or they never looked.
Now we have a
too.
section.
Maybe they're going from memory entirely.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, if they're a poet, probably.
Yeah, they're a poet that's performing. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Now we have a section on the conquest of Egypt. Know then, Egypt, that a king is coming against you. He will truly come, a terrible Ares with gleaming helmet. Then for you, widow, there will thereafter be captivity. For there will be wars which cause evils, terrible and raging in force around the wall of the land. In wars, you yourself, suffering mournfully, will flee, wretched one, over the newly slain. Later you will come to bed with the terrible one himself. The conclusion is the joining marriage. The king is evidently Octavian, the prince of verse 276, not Antony, as claimed by Curfus.
Okay.
Since Cleopatra did not marry Octavian, we must conclude either that the Sibyllist is giving a figurative account of the conquest of Egypt, or, as in so many other passages in the book, is referring to Cleopatra but embellishing fact with legend. The symbolic reference to Egypt remains, of course, in any case.
This is just such a weird Sibyl, just in general.
Yeah. Woe to you, ill-wed maiden! You will give the royal rule to a Roman king and will make amends for all you formerly did in wars of men. The passage seems to be a direct inversion of Sibylline Oracle 3:350 through 61. Yeah. You will give your whole land as a dowry to a powerful man as far as inner Libya and dark-skinned men. You will no longer be a widow, but you will live with a lion, a man-eating, terrible warrior of the war cry. And then, wretched one, you will be inconspicuous to all among men, for you will depart with shameless spirit. A tomb, like a circular mound, well wrought, fitted with pinnacles, will receive you alive within it in a snare cleverly made. Missing text. A great people will mourn you, and a king will raise a terrible, piteous lament for you. So there are two lines that are in that missing text. These two lines are hopelessly corrupt.
Oh.
You know, unfortunately, that happens a lot.
The references to the death of Cleopatra, apparently, it's hopelessly corrupt. New section, punishment for Egypt. Then also Egypt of many labors will be a servant, which for many years brought spoils from the Indians. She will disgracefully be enslaved and will mingle tears in the river, the fruit-bearing Nile, Because when she has acquired wealth and abundance of all goods, nurse of cities, she will nourish the race of the devourer of flocks of terrible men. Alas, to how many wild beasts will you be servant and booty, prosperous Egypt, lawgiver to peoples? You who formerly also rejoiced in great kings will be slave to peoples, wretched one, on account of that people which formerly, when it was living piously, you brought to great affliction, of labors and lamentations, and you placed on its neck the yoke of a plow, and you moistened the fields with tears of mortals. Therefore, God himself, the imperishable prince who lives in the sky, will utterly destroy you and impel you to lamentation, and you will make amends for what you formerly did lawlessly. At last, you will realize that the anger of God has come upon you. Interesting that they reference God as the imperishable prince who lives in the sky.
Yeah. That is, I mean, the thing is...
Gets a lot of titles anyways.
He does get a lot of titles. We've had, in the Bible, we have had plenty of references to Yahweh being a war and storm deity. And, of course, storms, generally speaking, take place in the sky.
Whoa.
Yeah, right? It's wild.
I'm taken aback by this.
Can you prove that?
I'm going to need a minute to process this
Well,
information.
we could go to Florida right now and
Where is the sky?
just upwards of us on
Do we
the
need
earth.
the technical difficulties song, guys?
Yeah, how far is the sky? Give fuck, Ruben.
Yeah, how far is the sky?
Yeah, how far is the sky?
Such that 1 nanometer difference would make it no longer the sky.
Right, yeah, exactly. Go fuck yourself.
Heaps.
Yeah, implies a king above him. So the thing is, in biblical literature, we've had God called a prince a few times.
Mm-hmm.
We've also seen God called a king a few times, multiple, actually more than a few.
King
Right.
of kings,
I'm-
God of gods.
There's that too, yeah.
Right.
So they just like flipping through titles.
Right.
I feel like in some ways, you know how if like one of us has to like,
But he lives in the sky.
right, yeah.
Like, it's not like heaven. It's not like an otherworldly thing. He's in the sky.
Yeah, but so the thing is with depending on how far back you go, heaven and the sky would have been the same thing. But at this point in time, I feel like depending on where this author was writing from,
How uninformed they are.
yeah, how actually, you know what? From this author is not very informed, so we can actually say that yes, they probably did not make a big differentiation between the sky and heaven.
Yep.
Right.
Or a prince and a king. This guy's not very well informed anyway.
Right, yeah.
Or Persians and Medes.
Or Assyrians and Israelites.
Oh,
It's just
jeez.
all over the place. Let's
Yeah.
keep going.
Conclusion of the Sibyl. But I will go to Pytho and well-built Panopia. There all will pronounce me a true seer, chanter of oracles, though someone will call me a messenger with frenzied spirit. But when he approaches the books, let him not shrink from them. He will know both all that is to be and that was before from our words. Then no longer will anyone call the divinely possessed seer an oracle monger of necessity. But, Prince, now stop my very lovely speech. Thrust away the frenzy and the true inspired voice and the terrible madness. But grant a pleasant refrain.
Yeah, so this is definitely from memory that this person is working off of, and just kind of winging it, I bet.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely a presentation, and
You have it over there.
yeah, I guess
Yeah.
there we go. So yeah, I suppose that was all of book
I like
11.
how the Sibyl gets all defensive at the end.
Yeah, here's why. So notice how this starts off, right?
Mm-hmm.
It starts off with the Sibyl saying, "I'm about to tell you these things about the world, right?
Yar.
I am about to speak the most disastrous tidings. And then at the end, she ends with it has been spoken. But then the second thing that comes up is we do have the Tower of Babylon. But we also have Egypt starting off, and then Persia. But then if we go back, it ends with punishments for Egypt and a conquest of Egypt. So, I mean, I'd have to look at it more closely, but it could be like
It's a collection of woes.
Of all the things to look into more closely, I'm feeling this is one of the
vague history mixed with legends that are also not chronologically correct by any means.
Yeah, so the thing is,
probably there's, well, I mean, yes, there is gematria in there, right?
Yeah,
because they outright do gematria.
Yeah, it's bad gematria sometimes too, though.
It's weird. It's like they say multiple times that they're going to do things in acrostics, but then they do this like just the initials of something, like P for Pharaoh. Right?
Yeah, so they don't know how to do an acrostic.
Right.
They know that it has something to do with the first letter of names, but they're not sure what.
So I'm gonna give this author and this Sybil a rating of 8 out of 148 revolving years.
There you go. Not bad.
I'll give this.
That's like 40,000%.
Wow.
I'll give this author like a 6 out of 10.
Dude, listen.
You're so generous.
It's better than average, just in terms of the writing.
Yeah, right? I guess, but it's also so
and it's also
convoluted.
kind of wacky.
Yeah.
Right? Which makes it a little fun.
In like a so bad it's good kind of way.
But it gets pulled down by the ridiculous inaccuracies and how like all over the place some of the lines can be.
Yeah.
Like it's very strange. A very strange book.
Yeah, it was fun reading, but
the QAnon of his time. Her time.
It was fun reading, but not for the reasons the author may have
intended.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I feel like there might be a sense of a chiastic poem kind of thing here.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's what they were going for.
Well, it's not an acrostic, I'll tell you that.
Right, it's not an acrostic. But you know what? If you guys have enjoyed the stream so far, make sure you drop a like, subscribe if you haven't, because all audience interaction helps the channel, because the more you interact, the more this video and other videos pop up in suggested feeds. So that stuff actually does help quite a bit.
Now, next week, we're going to be getting into the 12th Sybil. How long is it?
Very, very short.
Okay, so we will be finishing the 12th Sybil.
Yeah, I think so. Wait, hold on. Yeah.
So.
Definitely. If we finish this one, yes, we'll finish. We'll finish the 12th Sybil.
Yeah, so we'll be doing the 12th Sybil next time.
Yep.
And, if you enjoyed the stream today, check us out on Patreon. You can be on the show. You can be entered into t-shirt giveaways. You know what? If you don't want to be entered into a giveaway, you can just buy a t-shirt, such as the pinned product that is being placed on the video as we speak.
Yeah, this will appear in the chat. This is a very good shirt, I think. This is the
Church of Piety.
Yeah, Church of Piety. That's a very good shirt. Very ornate.
Yes, wonderful.
Yeah. So
we also have an Amazon wish list full of books. You can buy us.
And I should point out that if you do want to enter into the t-shirt giveaway, you should do it before Sunday, because
that's going to be when we're doing it.
Yeah, we're going to do the next t-shirt giveaway.
So hop in there as soon as possible.
Yeah. So there is that, of course.
Yep. Amazon wishlist is full of books. You can buy us books. We'll read them.
Or put them on this table. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll use them. And we also have Facebook and Twitter. Those are free to follow us there.
And all links are in the description, because Nightbot is not doing its job.
Not at all.
Nope.
No,
Died
not
today.
at all.
Yeah, definitely. Nightbot's dead.
Nightbot is dead.
Yeah.
And we killed him.
Yep.
Yep.
Very, very sad.
So, I guess without further ado,
Hold on. What do they have to say at the end of the video?
Oh, what do they have to say?
I think something
about bastard Ethiopian.
No, please don't. That would come off so bad. Do not do that.
Do that.
It is a funny line, though.
Yeah, but let's not.
Revolving years.
Yeah, something about revolving years.
Yeah, something about revolving years. How many revolving years
In a regular fucking year.
have you been around? I don't know.
Yeah, type your age in revolving years.
In revolving years, yeah.
Figure it out.
Figure it out. You'll get there.
So thank you for joining us, and we will see you on Sunday.